I've been thinking a lot about 24. That was 2 months ago. So, how's it actually going? It's time to cross a few things off the list. Which I actually did the week before I turned 24. This was really hard for a few weeks. I still had a lot of muscle memory when I'd open up my phone wanting to scroll through something. And it took a little bit of time to get over that. But now that I really don't miss it. So on my birthday, I climbed to the top of Woods Mountain with an awesome group from my church's wilderness ministry, which was super fun. And it was just so great to start the year on top of a mountain, which honestly, I'd love to make a tradition out of. So we'll see what happens next year. A few weeks ago, I traveled to China for the first time for work. And I was really only there a few days, but our team there is super awesome and they took me out to do lots of fun things on little adventures every day after work. I got to try a bunch of new foods. The craziest thing I had was the chicken egg. And I'm pretty sure I watched an episode of Fear Factor where someone ate something just like this when I was growing up. I had to try it. And so I cracked the egg open and you slurp out some of the chicken juice. And the flavor actually wasn't too bad. It really just tasted like chicken, and the big, baby chicken that comes out, I took a big bite of the craziest looking part. And again, the flavor was actually really familiar. It just tasted like chicken, but the texture just was so wrong. It was like hard and mushy in all the wrong places, even though it was like all the same color. And I think this really made it just a challenging food. I've also had some good progress with decluttering. And after taking this last bin to Goodwill, I've officially let go of 346 things since May. Going forward, I think I'm starting to adopt more of a mindset of constantly decluttering things. There's this book by Dana K. White called Organizing for the Rest of Us, where she kind of talks through, continual decluttering and organizing of space. And I've noticed just in general how much, less cluttered my space has been, which has helped make it easier to focus on what I need to get done. I've also gotten rid of about 12% of my photos. And I've started using some digital tools to build a better reference system that's less cluttered and more organized. There was a book I read called Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte, which was fantastic. And it was one of the first books I read this year. I think I've always been wary of digital notes just because my computer in high school and college would always die at the worst possible time and I'd lose access to all my notes. So I've been pretty gung-ho on the physical notebook, but I'm starting to take into account some of the value of these digital tools, and now that they've been more streamlined and maybe computer batteries are a little more reliable, that's something I'll take advantage of a little bit more going forward. So after that book, I've listened to two other books. There was Essentialism by Greg McKeown and Boundaries by Henry Cloud, which were both really, really good. I'm also working through a pretty big stack of physical books, most of which I started before I turned 24, but it's been taking me a little while to get through them. And so to give myself some extra motivation, if I do finish any of these books, I'm also going to include them on the list. In general, a lot of my other goals are going okay, but not great. I'm running, stretching, climbing a few times a week, but I'll admit it's been tough to get into a good rhythm with travel. I just had classes start back up and I'm working full time. It can really be a challenge to prioritize rest, to eat well, all those little things. The thing I've noticed though is getting things on my calendar and being very specific and intentional about them really helps give me some of that brain inertia to keep them as a big priority. So that's something I'm going to keep doing going forward. So when I first made this list, one of my friends hit me with a big question. He asked me, "What's your strategy?" And this made me think, do I even have a strategy? I'm trying to do a lot this year, and I do really want to be successful. And I think Benjamin Franklin said it best: if you fail to plan, plan to fail. So here's my plan. Goal grouping, putting it on the calendar, making my goals convenient, and being flexible. Let's start with goal grouping. Goal grouping is a lot like the idea of habit stacking, where goals end up all being intertwined with one another. It's really a collection of lifestyle choices that work together. I'll read a book related to prioritizing, running, or cooking, and when I start honing in my schedule, I'll look at trips coming up, or where I might have room for some. This is also where I get it on the calendar. I try to be as specific as possible. Instead of run on Tuesday morning, I might run with my friend at this specific trail on Tuesday morning. Figuring out the details helps me commit to the plan. So running fits with scheduling and marathon training, and you get the idea. Everything is connected. You just have to find the bridge. Another thing I've noticed is things turn out a little bit better when I follow a certain cycle, which I'm calling the CCDR cycle. This consists of consuming content or information, creating something, taking time to rest, and intentionally disposing of or decluttering things, which can really happen in any particular order. The important thing is really having regular rhythms of all four of these in any given week. Next, I'm gonna make my habits just as convenient as I possibly can. I'll leave my books out where they're easy to access. I'll have a clean crock pot ready to go to cook a big meal for the week. I leave my dream journal open next to my bed with a pen on top. I use the digital calendar on my phone so everything's all in one place. I'll leave a bin out for items to donate. So going forward the next couple months, my big focus is going to be on applying this strategy to build consistency in small ways. A few minutes stretching, a few minutes resting and doing nothing, maybe taking a few minutes to write down a little journal note for the day or a thank you note, plan some meals for the next week, and think about what else I have going on. Stay tuned for another update soon.